Okay, so now if you look at it, the IBM APIConnect instance is created, the one that we were trying to. Now, what is the next step? The next step is we are supposed to focus on creating an instance of APIC gateway on Esxi server as a step 2. For that, you need to download the required software from, if you're a partner, you're supposed to download it from Partner World. If you're a customer, you're supposed to download it from Passport Advantage. Me being an IBMer, I'm downloading it from my internal repository, and irrespective of the repository, the product code or part number does not change. You are supposed to download this CJ4EDEN. If you want to give a name to search, Data Power Gateway 2018 for VMware. So the moment you do so, you need to find this part number, and you need to download this IBM Data Power Gateway for VMware non-production environment. So please take a look at it. This is version 4.1.0. This is the base version. Once you download it, keep it with you. Then you need to go to IBM Fix Central. In the IBM Fix Central, go to the Select Product tab, choose WSphere, and choose IBM Data Power Gateway and specify the version. So you have the base from your internal repository, and we need to get that fix back from this version. Okay, so you get to see a lot of fix packs. Currently, the version that I'm using, you require 2018.4.1.10. So okay, so if you look at it, this is the fix pack that I'm supposed to. So this fix pack can be applied on 2018.4.1, the one that we downloaded before. So first you need to download the base and the fix pack. Eventually you will have two downloadables. So maybe if I need to show you what it will contain, you can say continue. Once you reach this page, you are supposed to download this. Please make a note. Maybe other thing for it may not require, but for deploying the fix pack 4.1.10, you require to download this. So eventually you should have downloaded the OBA file from the base and fix pack from the Fix Central. With this, you are going to deploy the Data Power Gateway on Esxi server. So here I have already created, I have my infrastructure to deploy. This is the vSphere web client, and you can make use of this to deploy the Data Power Gateway on VMware. So all you are supposed to do is deploy from OVF template. The moment you do so, you can provide a URL, but since I've already downloaded the base and the fix pack, I'm going to, it's a two-step process. First you need to install the base and then upgrade the firmware by using the fix pack. So browse. So this is the base 2018.4.10 non-prod OBA. So click open it, then say next. You can give any name, the name you like. You can, if you want to choose the same data center, you can choose. Depends upon your infrastructure you may need to choose, right? Click on next. Okay. Data power APIC Gateway 2018 4110. This is what I'm going to set up. I'm just giving a meaningful name. This represents 2018.4.1.10. Right. You can choose the same host. Please make a note, my infrastructure may be different from your infrastructure. Better you sit with a VMware specialist who can guide you in choosing the right configuration. So now moving on to the next, just accept the license. Moving on to the next, configuration. This is just for development. You don't need to change anything. I don't want to do a enterprise one, so I want to go with the out of the box configuration. Even the out of the box configuration, right? You can choose the data store. By default, data power gateway comes with a 4 Ethernet card. This EXT stands for if you want to expose this network to an external world, then EXT. Currently, this is running on IBM public cloud, so I can very well expose this to an external world. So if you do not want, you can provide everything to an internal. Then you may need to work with your VMware specialist how to provide a private IP and then expose your data power gateway to a public IP. So that you need to work with VMware specialist. But I'm going to go with whatever that is provided out of the box. Here it will ask for a default password, so I'm just providing my password, and the username is admin, and then I'm just leaving it a default. If you want to connect it using command line over port 22, you can do that. WebGUI and the XML management interface. I'm not going to change anything, and so next. Now take a review and say finish. It takes some time. Let's wait for it to complete. Now it is progressing, so let's wait for another few minutes to complete. Now it is 82. Let's wait for a few more minutes. Okay, so now this is completed. What is the next step? Before you move on, you are supposed to get the IP address in the CIDR notation, domain name server, gateway server. So these are all the things that you are supposed to have it before you configure this. So the next step is you are supposed to configure the virtual machine. Click on. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm supposed to start it before I do so. Let me start it. So it takes some time till it comes up. Let me go for a pause. So it is running. Let me open up the command line interface of API Gateway. Just click in the middle and say enter. Type admin and provide the password that you have provided during the installation. Sorry, looks like I forgot the password. Just give me a minute. Okay. So now it says enable secure backup mode. So this is a dev mode or demo mode. So I said no. Common criteria compatibility mode. I said no. Enter a new password. Provided password. Do you want to run the installation wizard? Yep. Do you have do you want to configure network interfaces? Yes. Do you have this information? Yes. Okay. When you say yes, you should have it. You should have 4 main data, like IP address in a CIDR notation, subnet mask, gateway, and DNS. DNS, I'm going to give the Google DNS just because it's available on public. Okay, so you might have seen 4 Ethernet card. So for this demo, I'm going to use only one, hence I'm going to choose Ethernet 0 interface to yes. And do you want to enable DHCP? No, because I have not enabled DHCP in my environment. And the IP address in CIDR notation. This is the available IP address that I can use in this environment. Okay, let me type and then record. Enter the IP address in CIDR notation. Gateway, default gateway. Let me type. I provided my gateway 150.238.89.241. Do you want to configure the Ethernet interface? So as I told, I want to use only one Ethernet interface. I'm going to give no to the second, no to the third, and no to the fourth interface. Do you want to configure network services? Yes. Do you want to configure domain name server? Yes. Do you have this information? Yes. Enter IP address of DNS server. So it is Google DNS. Okay, 8.8.8.8. Do you want the defined to Unix system identifier for the appliance? I said no. Do you want to configure remote management access? Absolutely yes. Do you have this information? Yes. SSH enable? Yes. Local IP, just say enter. Port number 22, just enter it, takes a default. Web GUI, enabling the web GUI. Yes. Local IP address, yes. 9090 is the port, absolutely yes. Do you want to configure a user account that can reset password? I said no. Do you want to configure RAID array? No. Do you want to review the current configuration? Yes. Just take a look at the current configuration. If you're okay, do you want to save the current configuration? Yes. Do you want to override previously saved configuration? Say yes. Okay, then comes show int is the command. It will show you the details about the interfaces, Ethernet interfaces, whatever the IP address that you have provided. Okay, let me go back to vSphere client. We're getting started. Go to the summary. So now looks like we have the IP address. Okay, open it. This is a port where web GUI is running. There you go. Provide the username, password the one that you have given in the CLI. Old school way is the best way. Login. It takes you to the software license agreement. I agree. It takes some more time. Please be patient. So after at least it takes a couple of minutes. You have to be patient. So again, it will redirect to login page. Provide the username and the password. Okay, once you log in, first thing that you need to check is the firmware. So 2018.410, but the version that you have installed on the OpenShift APIConnect version is 2018.4.10. So now for us to integrate data power with the other components of APIConnect on OpenShift, you have to upgrade this to 4.1.10. How do we do it? Let's see. System, firmware information. Just to double check, look at the firmware version. Go to the control panel. System control under the files and administration. Under system control, you need to upload the script file, the one you downloaded from the Fix Central. Click on browse. Okay, so this is the file that I've downloaded from the Fix Central, which is 2018.4.1.10. Okay, so open this. Say upload. Take some time. Let's wait for it. So it took almost 3-4 minutes for me to upload that. So once it is done, continue. Accept the terms of the license agreement checkbox and say boot image. It will upgrade the firmware from 2018.4.1.0 to 4.1.10. Let's wait for a while. Okay, so just provide your confirmation. Ignore this warning and say continue. So this process will also take considerable amount of time. So let's wait. So action completed successfully. This also took almost 3 to 4 minutes. So close. So after it'll take you to the login page, and then provide your password. Okay, so first thing that you need to check the firmware. So now we are with the right version, which is 2018.4.1.10. Okay, so this is the installation and upgradation of firmware to the required level. Then comes the configuration. Okay, let's move on to how to configure data power gateway with respect to APIConnect. If you look at it, the knowledge center of IBM APIConnect 2018, installing and maintaining under VMware. If you follow this track, it's a OVA based installation configuration, deploying to a VMware environment, deploying a data power gateway, configuring data power gateway for APIConnect. This is the section. I would suggest you to follow this the proper due diligence, then you'll be able to complete. There is no string attached. Only thing is, in the step 5, you have to be a bit careful. Generating key certificates. So let's see how we can proceed. Up on the web GUI, we are already there, and we are going to go with the Wi-Fi compatible. Okay, we are in the default domain. Search for XML interface. Okay. XML management interface. Enable it, and paste the IP address and say apply. Save configuration. Configuration saved successfully. Then comes application domain. Okay. You will see this default domain. So what we need to do is we need to create a specific domain for this configuration. So I would say APIC 2018.4110 app domain. Ensure this is enabled and it's visible to default. Say apply. Save the configuration. Now switch domains. Switch the domains. So whilst that is getting switched, for Wi-Fi compatible, we need to enable the statistic settings. Let's do that. Statistic settings. Enable, and no need to worry about this value, say apply. That's a bit tricky. Let me show you. We are creating a self-signed certificate. I have written a simple, open SSL command. The IP address of your gateway. I don't have the host name, hence I'm going to provide only the data power host name as IP address. Then rest are all it is driven common name. I'll make use of the same, host name. Then for private key, I'm just providing private key.pem format, and again $common name, and certificate file name. Again, I'll use the common name with the SSS cert. Likewise, I can give the subject with whatever that you are supposed to. Right. So in this case, I have given India, status Karnataka, office location IBM, so on and so forth, and that ends with the common name. And use the open SSL generate RSA set, algorithm using gen RSA. Provide a strength as 2048 with the private key file name. Right, private key file name is nothing but the common name. Then comes CSR request. Then comes creating a certificate. Then getting the PEM format out. So there are list of commands that you can follow to create the self-signed certificate. Let me run it and show you. I just created some directory to store the certificates, right? So I have this script. I'm in the directory. Just going to run this. The moment I run, see, I get to see private key, public certificate, and certificate in PEM format, because if you look at the documentation, see, browse the key, either it must be in .pem or .p12, hence I use the tool to convert that into p12. So let's go. So we have already created the the required PEM, private key and certificate. Let's go back and create a crypto key. Okay, so before that, let's save the configuration. Crypto key. So add a new crypto key. APIC 2018 crypto key. Enable it. So when you say upload, you can browse. So this is the IP address. Key is the private key. Choose the private key.pem and upload. Continue. Say apply. Save the configuration. While this is getting saved, let's move on to crypto certificate. Okay. add the certificate. APIConnect 2018 certificate. So choose the certificate in the PEM format, upload, continue, apply, save the configuration. Let's create an identification credentials. APIConnect 2018 creds. Choose the crypto key here and crypto certificate here and say apply. Before that, double check. Okay, apply, save the configuration. Let's create SSL client profile. And the SSL client profile. APIConnect 2018 SSL client profile. Enable it. If you look at it, choose the identification credentials. Okay, then comes ensure the validation service, server certificate is set to off. Okay, then apply the changes. Then comes Ssl Server Profile. Save the configuration. Ssl Server Profile. Click on Add. APIConnect 2018 Ssl Server Profile. Ensure it is enabled. Come down. Choose the same identification credentials. Request client authentication off. Just to double check. Request client authentication is off and say apply. Apply the changes. Save the configuration while it is getting saved. Gateway peering object. Gateway peering. Click on Add. APIConnect 2018 Gateway peering, and local address, the IP address. So leave the default port enable SSL, say local, just to double check this is the port, right? Ensure is not selected, peer group mode, and clear the enable SSL. So uncheck the peer group mode, enable SSL is unchecked, and choose the local persistent location and say apply. Save configuration while it is saved. Go for the APIConnect Gateway service. Okay, so here ensure it is enabled. Local address, it's nothing but the IP address of my data power gateway. Local port 3000, this is the administration port which will be using it. Choose the SSL client profile that you have created. Use the SSL server profile that you have created. And again, API gateway address, specify the, just because it is a gateway demo, either I can use 9443, but just to prove, let me remove that and put 443, and Wi-Fi compatible mode, let me use it, and choose the APIC gateway peering, right? And yeah, so with this we should be able to complete the configuration by applying it. Save the configuration. Okay, so now we are done with the configuration of data power gateway. What is next? So if you follow this, now you need to log into, configure the topology, right? The one that we are talking about. So this part, availability zone. So we are done with this, and we need to do this to integrate APIConnect with rather the data power gateway with the other components of APIConnect. Okay, so for that we need to log into Cloud Pak for integration, and then we'll do the needful. So with this, part 2 is completed. So let's focus on part 3, which is the configuring availability zone.